Someone asked, I know that God has forgiven me, but how can I be credible with the non-believer who knows my sinfulness? How do I deal with charges of hypocrisy?
The charges of hypocrisy.
Yeah. I know.
Guilty. We're all hypocrites. That's why we need a Savior. In fact, when people say I can't go to church because there's too many hypocrites down there, I always say, come on down, pal. We got room for one more. We're all, yeah, that's why we need a Savior. If we were perfect, we wouldn't need a Savior. In fact, in one of my debates with Christopher Hitchens, I said, Christopher, I'm a hypocrite. I can't live up to this book. I can't live up to what Jesus said. But if I could, I wouldn't need him. And so when Christopher went through all the stuff about God is not great, how religion poisons everything, he's right. That God is great. He got that wrong. In fact, his brother Peter Hitchens said the book should be called not God is not great, it should be called Man is not great.
That's right.
Because it's all about all the evil men have done. And we have done it. That's why we need a Savior. So he's right that we've done evil things, but he's proven our worldview. We're fallen, we need a Savior.
That's correct.
Good word.
Especially since he doesn't believe God exists. So all the nonsense that he is attributing to humanity is not to God, it's to human beings. But then he goes on elsewhere and says there's no such thing as evil. So on the one hand, he starts decrying all the evil. On the other hand, he says without God, there's no such thing as good or evil. The most self-defeating set of propositions you ever want to read, Mr. Dawkins has given to us. Yeah.
That's good.
I think the charge of hypocrisy to a person who's maybe a bit sensitive to their own life means how to rest and accept the forgiveness of God, but not to make some kind of perfection the challenge. I mean, the very fact, the woman at the well, I'm sure she didn't transform overnight into being a super saint. And any Christian we know who's experienced the grace of God, no one said it's about perfection, it's about forgiveness. So we have to, not put ourselves again under a level of change that we can't expect. Be honest. Hypocrisy is willful denying of the truth. Failure or struggle embracing the truth is a different issue. And I think we need to, give ourselves some permission that we are trusting Jesus, following him, but we're not trying to be perfect. We're trying to be forgiven and faithful.
Don't be surprised if there's one group that will appear to be hypocritical more than others. I mean, if you'd known me before, you don't know what I didn't have a publicly known, holy, high, perfect standard that you could judge me by, because you don't know what my standard is. For all you know, the behavior you just saw is entirely in line with the worldview that I hold, because I held it privately for the most part with many nuances, and unless you were to interview those nuances out of me, you wouldn't even know. But here with Christians, we hold to a publicly known, perfect moral standard. Get ready to fail all the time. If I failed before, I would just say, no, that's entirely consistent with who I am, right? You can't call me a hypocrite, but of course now you can call me a hypocrite because you know the target I'm shooting for. Look, if you throw the dart against the wall, it's easy to go and draw the bullseye around wherever the dart lands, okay? But when the bullseye is there first, you will see that I miss it a lot. You don't know if I'm missing it otherwise. And that is what our expectation ought to be as Christians. I'm going to get called out a lot because I will always, on a daily basis, mess this up. And if you're going to judge me on that basis, then yeah, I'm a hypocrite, of course. But like you said, I sometimes think that on this side of the cross, the difference is that I still struggle with some of the same sins that I struggled with before, but I celebrated them before. I never gave a second thought to them before. Now when I do something like that, I'm just tormented because it's the spirit inside of me that's wrestling with the fallen nature of my humanness, right? It's that thing that Paul talks about in Romans 7. I'm so angry that I cannot stop it, right? I know what I should do, I don't do it. Or I know I shouldn't do this and I do it. And I'm just so sick of it, right? But I never had those kinds of conversations in my head before. Because before I wasn't struggling with this. I never thought, I was celebrating it. So what, you do your thing, I do my thing, you shut up, I'll shut up too. Don't even get involved in that conversation. But of course now, that's why if you decide that you are going to accept the forgiveness of Christ today, and you have not done that yet, that you've always been your own standard, well then get ready, not for the easy life, for the right life. Get ready. I'm not a Christian, like I said before. I always say it all the time. I'm not a Christian because it works for me, because it doesn't work for me. It's hard to do this. I feel like I'm always failing, right? And before, I never felt that way. But I'm a Christian because it's true. And wouldn't you rather be in the inconvenient truth than a convenient lie? And so I think we have to realize that, yes, you are bound, if you join us in this, get ready to join the club of hypocrites who need the forgiveness of a Savior.
That's a good word.